Hey guys, DC Network here, coming at you with another video. A few weeks back, I made a video on this channel discussing how Total Drama Island, the revival series, not only aired its first season, but also aired its second season around the world, and has yet to premiere even a single episode here in the US. And honestly, it got to the point where I'm even questioning, is this show even going to come here anymore? Because why hasn't it come already? Well, apparently Cartoon Network heard our complaints because they recently put out a promo announcing that the Total Drama Island revival is going to be premiering on June 1st at 9 a.m. on Cartoon Network. There's a few things here that I want to break down, but first and foremost, let's discuss why exactly this show got delayed in the first place. And the only thing I could possibly think of is it is confirmed to be a weekly series, aka it's going to be airing weekly episodes. The only thing I could possibly think of is maybe, just maybe, Cartoon Network wants to air the first and second season back to back. I'm not sure if the second season is kind of a rollover of the first or if it changes at all whatsoever. That I do not know. You guys can let me know down below in the comment section if there is any correlation between the first and second season, but the only thing I could logically think of is if for whatever reason Cartoon Network didn't want to air 13 weeks of season 1, then like 6 months later 13 weeks of season 2, if they want just 26 consecutive weeks of total drama, maybe that's the reason why this show has been delayed here in the US. That's the only logical explanation I can think of, which if that's the case, I don't think that's necessarily a bad strategy to have a 26-week long, series airing episodes every week, because that's how it used to be back in the day. That's how TV in general was. We didn't have these short 10-episode seasons, and honestly, I would love to see the media industry just go back to that in general. But if that is the case, then I kind of question, okay, if you're going to do that in America, if that is your strategy, then why not do that same strategy throughout the world? Why have it premiere like 8 months in advance the first season? Actually, not even 8 months in advance. It premiered over a year ago. It was April of 2023. It premiered in Italy. So why have it premiere basically a year and 2-3 months before it comes out in the US over in another country in Italy when you're gonna hold it off here to air the seasons back to back, if that's indeed what they're doing? Again, a bit of a head scratcher on Cartoon Network's part, but nevertheless, the series is coming on June 1st with the first episode. Two things I want to touch on with this show is number one, the time it's airing on, and number two, the channel itself. So first and foremost, we'll touch on the channel because that kind of leads into the time slot. It is premiering on Cartoon Network, which I am rather surprised to be seeing, quite frankly, because in prior videos I was speculating that this show was going to premiere on Adult Swim. Total Drama Island and the Total Drama franchise in general has always borderlined on being a series meant for young adults or meant for teenage audiences. Given that Cartoon Network moved My Adventures with Superman, they moved Unicorn Wars Eternal off of the channel and onto Adult Swim, I felt that the natural progression of that would be that Total Drama Island would follow suit and that would also be moved to Adult Swim. But nevertheless, it seems like that is not going to be the case. It seems like Total Drama Island is indeed going to be on Cartoon Network, and I kind of just question what exactly determines which show goes to Cartoon Network and what determines which show goes to Adult Swim. Because I've seen all of My Adventures with Superman season 1, I've seen all of Unicorn Wars Eternal, and neither series is so adult oriented that it can't be on Cartoon Network. Like, both of those shows could flourish perfectly fine on Cartoon Network, but for some reason they moved them to Adult Swim. So how are they any different from Total Drama? And that's a question that we're not going to get the answer to, but I just kind of wonder behind the scenes, what's the determination between a Cartoon Network series and an Adult Swim series? Now, the second thing I wanted to touch on is the time slot this show is going to be airing at. So it's premiering on June 1st at 9 a.m. June 1st happens to be a Saturday, so it's going to take that Saturday morning cartoon slot at 9 a.m. That, to me, is a rather strange time to be airing this show. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I feel like this show would much better be suited for like maybe a weeknight. I was going to say at like 7-8 o'clock, but I just realized Cartoon Network's not even on at 7-8 o'clock anymore. I feel like this series would have just made more sense to have air on a weekday. I was going to say it makes sense for the 7-8 9 o'clock time slot because that's when this show used to air back in the day on Cartoon Network, but that technically would make it an Adult Swim series, which again, it kind of just makes more sense to me for it to be an Adult Swim series. Have it come on right after Checkered Past at 7 o'clock and have it air for a half hour a day every single day. Obviously, the first week it probably will just be repeating the first episode, but nevertheless, that's better to me than seeing King of the Hill on at 7 p.m. 9 a.m. is just a weird time on a Saturday morning. I know that's the Saturday morning cartoons time. I know that's what they used to do back in the day for like the Green Lantern series, for Young Justice, even Star Wars The Clone Wars at one point aired at 9 a.m. on Saturdays. I believe actually too, that's when Ben 10 Omniverse aired. A lot of popular series had aired at that time slot, and I'm not saying it's a bad time slot in general. I just feel like this show in particular, given that it does have that element in it for older audiences, it does attract not not only young people, but it attracts older audiences like young adults and teenagers to it as well. The 9 a.m. time slot just doesn't make sense for this show in particular because of what I just said, the different elements that it's going to have, the different audiences it is going to attract. On the weekends, I usually don't wake up till around 9 a.m., sometimes even 9:30, so I'm not going to be watching this show, and I want to watch this show. I will find a way to watch the episodes. I'm sure it's probably going to be on Max the next day, if not on Cartoon Network's website or on demand on whatever cable provider you have. But nevertheless, I just feel like that's not a great time slot for this series, given what it's supposed to be, given that, yes, it's going to have that child entry point in there. Yes, it's going to be something that's meant for kids to watch, but it also has elements in there that's going to attract older audiences, such as teenagers or young adults or even adults as well. It's not a show that's just meant for 6 to 10 year olds. It's a show that's meant for people of all ages. So I feel like putting it at the 9 a.m. time slot just is going to end up hurting it in the long run, as opposed to getting more viewers onto the channel. Because I can tell you right now, little Timmy might be watching Total Drama Island at 9 a.m. on a Saturday, but DC Network won't be watching Total Drama at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. Tom, who's 35 years old, is not going to be watching Total Drama at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. I just feel like that time slot is a bit short-sighted. You could have even put it, if you want to have it be on the weekends. I know Acme Night no longer exists, but you could have even had it be a part of Acme Night or put it in that time slot. Technically speaking, that would make it an Adult Swim series again, which again I think would make more sense for this show, but nevertheless, this is what they're deciding to do. They're deciding to air Total Drama Island on Saturday, June 1st at the 9 a.m. time slot with weekly episodes to follow. We'll see if it airs out the first 2 seasons back to back, or if it just stops at season 1 and has a brief hiatus for season 2. We'll just have to wait and see on all of that. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all of this. What do you guys think about Total Drama Island finally coming to Cartoon Network here in the US? I thought it might never happen, honestly, at this point. It's great to see that it's finally coming, but what do you think about the time slot that it's at? And what do you think about the fact that it's on Cartoon Network and not Adult Swim? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from DC Network. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.